Welcome back, everybody, to another episode and the last episode of 2021, the Leadership Void podcast. I'm Enrique and my co-host Vince. We are going up north to South Carolina, but I'll let Vince introduce.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just excited for Melissa Green. If you don't know, she is the founder and CEO of Southern Sweet and Sassy Coffee.
Come on now.
And folks, this is the best way to end 2021, right? With this cup of Joe. And she's going to tell us a lot about that. But before we'll start off, Melissa, just tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, of course. Thank you again for allowing me to come on this podcast and just have this wonderful conversation with you both. So I am Melissa Green. I am a United States Navy veteran, married to my husband who 17 years, and he's a naval retiree. So he retired in the Navy and we actually met in the Navy. That's, it's quite a story. We met in Hawaii when we were stationed in Hawaii. And then I got out and became the spouse and he retired. So yeah, definitely an interesting story there. But we are parents of 4 kids. Our oldest is 20, our youngest is 11. And I do work full time as well as, having my business and my kids' extracurriculars, soccer, music, you name it. I'm in music, you name it. So I'm definitely crazy busy.
Well, let me tell you, there's something about this name, Southern Sweet and Sassy, to put on a coffee. But let me tell you, folks, this coffee is out of this world. And Melissa, tell us a little bit more about the company.
Yes. So Southern Sweet and Sassy Coffee was actually created due to my experience as a military spouse. So it was for me, every so often you have to move to new neighborhoods and you have to kind of get in with that community. And I'm sure as your families, can understand, it's really hard to join a new community just right off the back. So you tend as a military spouse to form your own community. And so what I did was I would invite, spouses out for coffee or bring them over for coffee and just start having conversations. And for me, it's the perfect way to, get to know somebody is over a cup of coffee. So I just want others to have the same experience. I want them to be able to have the same opportunity to be included into their community or to include a new family coming in. And the best way to do it is to drink coffee.
Absolutely. That is definitely a way to engage with unfamiliar, uncharted territory. Is that cup of Joe, right? It brings us together, the bond with food as well. So both of them are very important. But today is about Sweet and Sassy Coffee. We want to let you know that we're excited for you and everything you're doing. So tell us, when did you start and how did the pandemic affect your company?
So we started this past January. Yes. So we started this past January and we have been growing ever since. So I do want to put out the reason behind the name. The reason behind the name is I'm actually a California native. My husband is from South Carolina. So I'm what they consider a Southern transplant. So that's where Southern came in. I'm also a Puerto Rican Gemini. And that's where Sweet and Sassy came from. I definitely wanted to put that out there so everybody would kind of understand the naming convention. But I want to say that the pandemic helped our company because, as you all noticed, like last year, nobody would have guessed what was to happen or what had happened. And there are a lot of small businesses that didn't make it, a lot of small businesses that had to close down because, you couldn't be open, you could not operate. So a lot of businesses, they became successful by having that online platform, by, moving towards the digital space. And for me, the way that my business model is strictly digital. So I don't have to worry about the overhead costs of having a brick and mortar. I don't have to worry about having, the inventory, all of a sudden the inventory go bad because it's not being sold in a proper, proper time. and I don't have to worry about my business shutting down. So this year, with these small businesses moving towards e-commerce, I think that's what's driving a lot of success.
Now, that's a powerful story and a great setup when you talk about this virtual side of life that we all are now accustomed to, or at least growing to either love or hate, or one or the other. But the fact that you guys have already structured that way, it was a win-win in terms of the way the world was moving. Now, I love the name, I love the coffee. And so my question now is, what's in the horizon? What's on in the future for Southern Sweet and Sassy?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little nugget, and but it's not going to be a specific nugget, but it's definitely a little nugget that's going to get you guys thinking and on the edge of your seats, because next year we have another launch. Next year, we are planning on launching another line that falls under Southern Sweet and Sassy LLC, geared towards another specific market, where Southern Sweet and Sassy Coffee is geared towards our military families. This specific line is going to be geared towards another community, and it's going to blow up fast.
I almost fell out my seat because I'm like, okay, tell me more. But you know what? That's the great thing. Thank you for the exclusive, folks, listeners. Tune in, because next year, definitely there's a lot in store for Southern Sweet and Sassy. And we cannot wait to hear more of who this other pond or lake they're going to swim in. But we're excited for you all. So let's transition a little bit, Melissa, and share, since in your time in the Navy or as a spouse or prior to your professional development, what areas did you or do you work on to improve your capabilities as a leader?
I read a lot. I feel like you can learn so much from books, professional development, personal development, how to navigate conversations, which I'm still learning. Just really, you can learn a lot about life. The one I'm reading, and I brought it here with me today, is The Magic of Big Thinking. So this is the one that I'm currently in, and really it's just how to kind of navigate success. And then another one that I have not read yet, but I'm about to, and I need to. It's about time management. I'm so bad at time management, but it's Eat That Frog. And it's a small book. If you guys are not readers, it's a small book. Come on. But it's called Eat That Frog. And really, it just gives you like step-by-step processes to how to not procrastinate, which I could be a big procrastinator. Give me a coffee and a book, and I don't want to do anything. So, but it's just constant reading and networking, taking classes, and just that growth. You have to have that leadership mindset and that drive to succeed, to really make it in today's world.
Absolutely. And, reading is one of the ways that you're going to excel and multiply. And a few people try to dive into that, but if you can, hey, I'm going to get those 2 books as well. Although I will admit, I may try the audio version first. But great tip for getting your self-development, your leadership development in place. So Melissa, when you was in the Navy, I'm sure you saw a lot of leadership. I'm sure you've seen it play out in your time as a military spouse. And so you must have picked up something that said, that's what I want to see in a leader, or that's what I want to be when I become a leader. Can you share some of those tips for new and coming leaders, those that are coming up the ranks?
Oh, definitely. I've also saw what not to do. But the best way to be a leader is to be like a mentor, to be a friend, to go alongside somebody and not tell them what to do, show them how to do. you have to have done it in order, obviously, to teach it. But the leaders that I have had, they've taken me under their wing. They have networked me out, introduced me to a lot of big players. And this was, during a time when I was working, let's say, in healthcare field. So it's like they take you under your wing. They're mentors. That's really what encompasses an amazing leader, is somebody that will mentor you, that will guide you, that has your best interests at heart. Those are people I highly respect.
Definitely the respect of mentors have taken all of us to new heights, because we're standing on the shoulder of giants, because they've seen it, done it, have the
Yeah.
t-shirt, as they say, right? So for those emerging leaders, have a mentor, seek out a mentor is a great advice from Melissa. Now, transitioning from the silent teacher of a book to challenges we face. How do you, Melissa, handle challenges either you've currently faced or have faced in the past?
Well, after eating like a pint of ice cream and probably drowning my sorrows in a shot of Jack, I mean, I really seek out advice. There has been times when, as an entrepreneur, I made poor decisions. I didn't research the way I should have. Obviously, every entrepreneur goes through a time period where they make very bad decisions and then you lose out. So for me, it's just more of like, I like to CYA. So before I start making any, decisions, that like a naming convention or certifications and paying for things, or, something like that, I get advice and I look to those who have already done it and run it by them to make sure that it's going to be a solid decision for me. Like I said, I've lost out on money. I don't know any entrepreneur that hasn't been through some challenges like that. But there's also challenges to grow. I mean, a big challenge for me is how many coffee companies are out there. Now, my challenge is to be different. And because I'm a veteran and a military spouse, well, guess what? I love you vets, but you're not my target market, because there are a lot of coffee companies that are targeting military veterans. But who targets the family? So that's kind of what sets me different. But that was a challenge in the beginning. It was to find my why and to figure out who am I targeting.
And I love that, not that you went through challenges, but that those challenges pose opportunities for change, opportunities to do something different. You're targeting a market that is overlooked most times, not just by coffee, but by a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so these changes allow us to grow. So how do you handle changes that come to you, and what strategies do you employ to overcome them?
I really just have to sit back and there's times I might have to reinvent, redirect. There's times when I've had really good ideas and they didn't go the way I wanted them to go. So I'd have to pivot. And I feel as an entrepreneur, you have to have the ability to pivot. You also have to have the ability to grow, and innovate. And there are times when I had to do that. I just had to throw my hands up and say, well, this didn't work. And I bit the bullet, and there you go.
Absolutely, you have to pivot, but you have to bite the bullet every once in a while. But definitely great ways to handle and great advice to handle challenges and with strategies for change. So for our audience that want to know more about Southern Sweet and Sassy Coffee, roast to table company that is passionate about connecting military families one cup at a time. How do they get a hold of you, Melissa, or your company?
Yeah. So our website is Southern Sweet and spelled out sassycoffee.com. Our Facebook is at Southern Sweet Sassy LLC. And we do have an Instagram that's at Southern Sweet Sassy. So you can definitely reach me there.
Outstanding. And folks, we're going to have that information as part of the show notes and also the video so you can get a hold of Melissa and this outstanding coffee. Hey, I'm not a military spot, but I already drunk a couple of cups, so I'm good. And I'm telling you, it is worth your attention. If you want to get a hold of us, the leadership void at gmail.com is where you will send that information. Anything you want to see us address on the leadership side or any guests you would like for us to host here at the show, please send it to that email. We'll be happy to oblige and go through those and curate them.
Absolutely. And as well, we have a couple other things we do. As you know, we do Radio Check every first and the 15th at 1900, which is 7 p.m. LinkedIn Live is a way to just connect brothers and sisters in arms and or first responders. First and the 15th, check us out on Radio Check. We have a subscription drive trying to reach our 200. Standing O by Scott McGregor is the book. Once you hit subscribe and like us on our YouTube channel, The Leadership Void, you enter into a drawing to win this wonderful book, which is autographed by Scott McGregor. It's lessons on gratitude. So please hit subscribe for that. Today, we also want to share this week that we are honored to know that our Space Force is just 1 year old this week. So happy birthday to the Space Force that's out there. We salute you and we honor you and your first milestone throughout the first year. Next week, we're going to close out season 2, 2021 with a end of year review. So please tune into that. We're excited for that. And lastly, we couldn't do it without our home team of Freedom of Round Point Mortgage Service Corporation. Home team takes care of us, is our platinum sponsor. We're grateful for them. But today, let's stop and pause because it's all about Southern Sweet and Sassy Coffee with Melissa Green, the founder and CEO. Thank you, Melissa. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and wonderful, blessed things going for the future for your company and you.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you both as well.